Are you tired of copying random programs online and getting nowhere?
Because we've been here before. We're going in circles.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to write a strength program for your personal strength goals. Not just random gains, no more spinning your wheels, training hard, just to not hit a new PR. This is the exact method I used to program for myself as I chase a 700-pound deadlift and a 500-pound bench press. I recently just hit a new PR for the first time in a while, 452 pounds. And I use this approach for myself and other lifters chasing new PRs. Some of you already have reached out for programming and coaching. So whether you're aiming to hit a new milestone PR or prepping for a meet, by the end of this video, you have the tools and confidence to build a strength training plan that actually works for you. Or maybe you'll be able to self-assess your own program right now and determine if it's actually helping you. Like anything, strength training is pretty simple to understand at first, but the deeper you go down the rabbit hole and the further you get into your lifting career, the more crucial it is to tailor your programming to your body, your recovery, and your weak points. And that just takes a lot of time. It takes a while to understand that about yourself. At the end of this video, I'll share my recommended resources if you want to go deeper and expand your knowledge. I do plan on one day making a part 2 to this video where we can take that deep dive, but by the end of this one, you should understand the key principles of strength programming and feel confident in trying to write a program tailored to you and your goals. This video and these principles focuses on strength training, specifically increasing your 1-rep max on a key lift like the squat, bench, deadlift, or even overhead press. It doesn't focus on building muscle so much as increasing raw strength. That said, you could apply these principles to almost any sport, from powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding, rugby and swimming to trail running and beyond. So let's begin. Real quick, if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. I'm a new channel. I have a big goal of hitting 500 subscribers by the end of summer. So if you like me and you like this content, I would really appreciate your support. So what separates a great program from a mediocre one? Let's be real. For beginners in the first few months, almost anything works if you're consistent, work hard, and aim for a progressive overload. But as you get more advanced, the returns diminish and the details start to really matter. Throwing weight around only gets you so far, at least for increasing strength. A mediocre program has no plan of progression. It's just do 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 5, forever, just add more weight, try and hit each muscle group a few times a week. Like I said, that's not bad advice for beginners or people that aren't looking to compete or max out their strength. To me, a bad program doesn't take your personal goals, your strengths, and your weak points into consideration. If you're trying to compete, you need to look at your strength more holistically, not just, well, let me find ways to increase my 5x5, not just picking exercises because your favorite influencer does them or because they look cool. Let's be honest, we all do that sometimes. And not just copying a program a famous athlete is running. Most of the time, that's not even what they're doing if they're posting that online. It's inspired by what they're doing for a general audience. And you don't want to do what they do. You probably don't want to do what I do. I don't train like John Hack or Eddie Hall. I train to get like where they are. Copying what they do doesn't make sense. For instance, if I wanted to be a better marathon runner, I wouldn't just start running marathons like how a professional runner does it. Your training at some point really needs to tailor to you, your lifestyle, and your habits. So let's talk about what makes a good program. Here is what I consider the 3 pillars of a strong program. The first one is specificity, and the idea that specificity increases over time. That means as you progress block to block, we'll get more into that in a second, exercise selection, sets, and reps should evolve to look more like your goal lift. Meaning if my goal is a maximum bench press, then doing 3 sets of 3 on bench press is more specific than, say, 3 sets of 10 on overhead press. And the next pillar is progression. You've probably heard the term progressive overload before. It just means to increase work over time. This includes weights, reps, volume, intensity. Number 3, and this is a big one for me, is fatigue and load management. It boils down to balancing training stress with recovery, avoiding doing too much too fast, and really programming, and this part in particular, it's an art as much as a science. So you're trying not to overshoot, you're trying not to undershoot, using tools like RPE, RIR, strategic deloads, tapering, all of that plays into this. A good program also targets weak points, also known as staking points. I use them kind of interchangeably. That's the point the bar slows down or fails on a heavy lift. For instance, if you were to go for a PR on deadlift, would you fail trying to get it off the ground, the mid-range, or the lockout? Where would you fail? Or historically, where do you keep doing so? So all of this falls under a concept called periodization. If you're going to do research on any term after this video, that's your key term, periodization. I'll have more resources linked down below. So how do we implement these principles of periodization? How do we periodize our training? Let's think of your strength program like a pyramid. Each layer builds on the one before it, with your test day, that could be a day you test your PR, or an actual competition day sitting at the very top. Periodization is the strategic planning of your training over time. It's how we make sure you're not just working hard, but working smart, making consistent progress without burning out. We do that by strategically breaking your training into different periods of training. These periods are usually just called blocks. We're going to take a really simple example. Your training blocks can be as short or as long as you really want them to, but for this example, we'll use 3 training blocks, each 5 weeks long, to illustrate the concept. Block 1, we're going to call this the hypertrophy/volume block. Our goal here is to build muscle, increase work capacity, and attack weak points. Specificity is low. The exercises, sets, and reps don't need to closely mimic your goal lift yet. Why are we doing it like this? This is your foundation. It's the base of your pyramid. We're expanding your base by building muscle and increasing your tolerance to training volume. We focus on higher reps and variation here, because we're not trying to mimic the 1 rep max, at least not yet. We're preparing your body for heavier work down the line. This is your chance to really throw a lot of volume at your sticking points. This is your chance, if you're a powerlifter, to do some bodybuilding and get bigger biceps. Block 2, we'll call this the strength block. Our goal here is to build strength and increase load capacity. Specificity, we're gonna call it medium. Exercise selection begins to narrow, main lifts show up more. Sets and reps start to more closely mimic your goal. So now that we've built the base, we're teaching the body how to use that new muscle and work at capacity. Rep ranges come down, intensity goes up. Our accessories are still present, but they're more focused. This is probably where I personally would drop doing some bicep curls. You're being more mindful of junk volume. If you don't have a clear reason to do your accessory that advances your goal, it's probably a good idea to drop it here. And for our main exercise selection, the closer a movement looks and feels to your goal lift, the more useful it becomes in this block. We're gonna call block 3 the peaking block. Our goal here is to realize strength and hit a 1 rep max. We're here to express our strength, not necessarily acquire more strength. Specificity is at its highest, basically. Nearly all exercises, sets, reps, and intensity directly mimic our goal. And so why do we do a peaking block? Well, peaking is about specificity and neural readiness. You're practicing your goal lift with heavy loads, low volume, and competition-like rest intervals. Everything is fine-tuned to prepare you for that 1 rep max. At some point in your peak block, you perform maximally. Then you taper before competition, intensity drops a little bit, and you recover and practice for those last few weeks until competition. You don't want to max out a couple days before your competition. That's not enough rest to perform optimally. Let's talk a little bit how we progress block to block. So exercise specificity increases. We start with general movement patterns and gradually introduce more goal-specific lifts. Example, maybe we do front squats in block 1, low bar pause squats in block 2, and maybe just nothing but low bar competition squats in block 3. Our intensity, meaning our load, the amount of weight on the barbell, increases as well as we progress block to block. We slowly move from moderate weight to near maximal loads to avoid injury and allow adaptation. This looks like increasing our PE, our rate of perceived exertion, or decreasing RIR, the number of reps in reserve per set. Stock volume, that's the number of sets and reps. Volume decreases as we progress block to block. Early blocks build our capacity with higher reps. That way we're in better shape when we transition to strength and peaking. Later blocks reduce reps to focus on power and efficiency and rest. You've probably experienced this yourself. You do 3 sets of 8 on bicep curls, and you tend to be able to recover in about a minute or 2 into your next set. But if you were to do a heavy deadlift triple, that's going to take 4 or 5 minutes of rest between sets. So this steady transition across the blocks is the heart of periodization. We're always adjusting stimulus, recovery, and adaptation to ensure you're not just training, you're progressing. If you try to max out all the time, you're going to plateau or burn out. The more advanced you are, the more intentional your blocks really need to be. You probably need strategic deloads every block. In 5-week blocks, for instance, probably a deload at week 4 or 5 each block. During your peak block, you're going to have the taper, so there might not be a reason to deload. Caveat, my personal philosophy, take deloads when you need them. You can strategically plan them to ensure you're getting rest. If you're like me, I want to feel like I'm training. Play around with decreasing volume more than intensity. Some people do deloads at 50%. Try keeping your deload at 70% if you're feeling good and rested. And if it's too much, then yeah, have a proper deload week where you really slash both intensity and volume. Next, I want to talk exercise selection a little bit deeper and how we progress block to block in that. The truth is, you don't want just random leg days. You need exercises that fix your personal bottlenecks. These are the sticking points I was talking about earlier. So film yourself, find your sticking point, and pick lifts that attack it. So for example, if your squat fails at the lockout, maybe your quads need some work. So let's take an example. So for block 1, our exercises really target our quads. Front squats, high bar squats, hack squats, leg extensions, split squats, SSB squats. There's a ton out there. When we progress into block 2, our strength block, we'll still tackle the quads for the lockout, but we're looking for more goal-specific exercises. So I'm introducing low bar squat again, maybe some box squat, probably some fewer accessories as well. Block 3, for the peak block, I'm only doing low bar squat and a lockout specific variation, maybe like pin squats. Ideally by here, the work we did in the last 2 blocks has paid off, and we're hitting higher weights easier with snappier lockouts. The more specific the lift is to your goal, the better. When choosing exercises, ask yourself, does this look like my target lift? Seriously, even if you have to write it down in your program, I'm doing this lift because blankety blank. If you don't have a solid answer, ask yourself why. Opt for exercises that directly target your sticking points. All right, let's dive a little bit deeper into rep ranges and intensity. So rep ranges and intensity, like I said, intensity just means weight on the bar. You can sometimes use the word load. That should also evolve with each block. So block 1, specificity is pretty low. We're doing moderate to high volume, 8 to 12 reps, moderate intensity, 3 to 4 sets per lift. Why do we do it like this? High reps help build muscle. This is the volume hypertrophy block, and they reinforce your technique and your bar path. You're not trying to peak here, you're building a foundation. You're increasing your work capacity so that you can handle your peak block even better. Block 2, specificity is increasing. We're progressing to moderate volume and higher intensity. This looks like 3 to 6 reps, 4 to 5 sets. Load management is key. Why do we do it like this? Lower reps with heavier weight teach you to apply force efficiently. This block bridges muscle gains into real strength. Block 3, our peaking block, again, this is as specific as it comes. Specificity is at its highest. Because our goal is literally 1 rep by the end of it, our exercises are low volume and high intensity. So we're talking 1 to 3 reps, 3-ish sets. We're focusing on singles, doubles, triples. Why do we do it like this? Your body needs to practice heavy lifting. Singles improve coordination, bracing, and mental focus under max loads. You need to get used to that load and that weight on the bar. We're going to include tapering at the end to recover and prime for testing. Basically, that's just a strategic deload, though there's a whole science to tapering. It's a science, it's an art. For now, just think of it as a very strategic deload during your peaking block so that you can perform maximally. Let's give it a little recap. We broke our training into blocks. Block 1, volume hypertrophy, build muscle and attack weak points. Block 2, strength, increase load, transition to heavy compound work. Block 3, peaking, practice your exact lift, refine technique, taper, hit your PR. Our progression plan is increasing intensity, decreasing volume, increasing specificity over time. I give this simple example in my bench press accessories video, which will be linked down below as well. So give that a watch if you want to see an example of addressing bench press weak points. Shameless plug to get you to watch another video. Like I said, I do plan on making a part 2 to this video. This video was a long one to make, so in that next one, we're going to build another example program and maybe talk more about how we progress week to week, not just block to block. And we'll take a deeper dive into more of the science of tapering. Next, I want to talk about retrospectives, and this is taken from Agile Project Management or Agile Software Management. I just have some final thoughts from my own training and personal philosophy, so you should be thinking retrospective constantly. In your program, at the end of each block, at the end of each week, or maybe even at the end of each day, ask yourself what went well, what didn't, how can you improve? What needs to stay the same? What needs to change? This exercise of asking yourself these questions and providing honest feedback is called a retrospective. And it's going to help you get the nuance into what was going on in your life too. Your program shouldn't just be what numbers you hit. Get into the habit of journaling, using your program as a personal journal as well. If you're attempting to program for the next week and you look at what you did 2 weeks ago and it didn't move well, you won't remember why unless you write down that you got bad sleep because maybe you had an argument or something. So you need to take that nuance into consideration. After your retrospective, Take a few action items and keep your plan adaptive. Write down if you feel good, if you feel you undershot this week, and adapt next week. Maybe add 10 pounds to your bench since this week felt so good. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're getting the shooting pains and the irritability and some of those classic overtraining signs, and it's time for a deload that maybe you didn't even plan. And now you know maybe you've done too much volume too quickly. Writing that down will help you keep that program adaptive and not static. You're trying to avoid cookie cutter static programming. This will help you not just write one of those for yourself. In closing, as you get more advanced, you might only add 5 to 10 pounds over a training cycle, especially if you're a natural athlete like myself. I just hit a bench PR for the first time in 2 years because now I'm finally doing this seriously again. And that's okay. If you're newer and you're taking this approach, you're probably going to see bigger jumps. And now that you understand the framework, you can apply these principles to any lift or any sport. You don't need a random program you found online from your favorite influencer. You need a plan that grows with you. This video should give you the tools to do so, but hiring a coach isn't a bad idea either. A good coach will understand your sticking points and can help you target those, give you better cues, and they can help you manage your fatigue and load maybe better than you can yourself. I highly recommend anybody new to competing, go ahead and hire a coach. This can help you a lot. On a side note, I am offering online coaching and programming now. So if you want to work with me to build a customized program, no cookie cutter BS, a program that you and I handcraft together, DM me on Instagram at meathead.mat. If you found this video helpful, please give this video a like, a comment, and consider subscribing. I'm working towards 500 subs, and we've grown to over 350 in just a few months. As you can see in all my videos, I respond to nearly all the comments, and I definitely read all of them. I appreciate you greatly for watching this video. If you want to keep learning about periodization, like I said, I'll have recommended resources linked below. Thanks for watching.